So today's discussion is all about something called butyrate. Now, I know you have heard me banging on about short-chain fatty acids in many of my posts and blogs. And these short-chain fatty acids are the magic potion in gut health. And butyrate is one of these short-chain fatty acids. Now, I know this might not be the most exciting post or discussion of the year, but it's something that I really think you need to know about if you want a healthy gut, mind, and body. Now, butyrate is sometimes known as butyric acid. It's one of the three main short-chain fatty acids made by our gut bacteria when they ferment fiber in our large intestines. And the other two are acetic acid and propionic acid. And these short-chain fatty acids are basically lots of little chains of little fats, a bit like essential fatty acids that you may have heard about, like omega-3 or omega-6. They're really similar. And they're the main source of energy for the cells that make up the lining of our colon, which are sometimes known as colonocytes, colon cells. And all of the short-chain fatty acids make around 90-95% of the total energy that's needed by our colon cells, and butyrate alone is thought to make up about 70% of that energy. So it's a really important part of our gut health and our colon cells' ability to function and regenerate. It's also thought to have some amazing health benefits, such as preventing colon cancer, related to it obviously helping to heal the colon cells, and also that those short-chain fatty acids make a slightly more acidic environment in our colon. They also are thought to support our immune system and also reduce inflammation in the gut. Now, you can get a modified version of butyrate that are in processed foods. It's used as a food enhancer and in supplements. And in supplemental form, it's usually known as sodium butyrate. They're not the same as butyrate found naturally in foods, or especially what our gut bacteria make themselves. Now, butter is a good source of butyrate, but you don't want a lot of it. I mean, you'd have to eat buckets in order to get anywhere near the same amount that our gut bacteria need, but you can get a little bit of butyrate in butter. The best way to get it is through eating fiber-rich plant foods that encourage the natural production of it in the gut. And that's your fruit, your veg, your legumes, your whole grains, and specific things called resistant starches, which are made from cooled and cooked foods like potato and rice. So those potato and rice salads are really good this time of year because they actually, our gut bacteria love those, and they break them down and they ferment, and then they make these specific short-chain fatty acids as a result. Now, certain things can affect butyrate production. Not eating lots of plants and fiber-rich foods will make a big difference. Be careful with long-term diets, like long-term fasting diets, long-term FODMAPs, and long-term ketogenic diets. You do need to be really careful. These types of diets, which are highly restrictive, can actually restrict the plant foods that you need in order to make the short-chain fatty acids. So you need to be really careful and get guidance to make sure that if you're doing them, you're either doing them for a short term or you're doing them in a really healthful way that will ensure you are still getting the foods that you need for a healthy gut. Medications can also alter the balance of bacteria in the gut. Antibiotics are a really good example. And also long-term use of things like ibuprofen and paracetamol can also affect that balance of good and bad, for want of a better word, bacteria in the gut. And certain diseases like inflammatory bowel disease, diabetes type 2, have also been shown that they can alter the bacteria in your gut. So it's all about, a healthy gut really has a really good, diverse population of different bacteria and yeasts, and at specific amounts. So you don't want, even if you have a good bacteria in your gut, if you have too much of that good bacteria, it's no longer a good bacteria. So it's not necessarily about these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. It's also about how many and that variety. You want as much diversity as possible. Now, the research on butyrate as a therapeutic agent is growing. It's been focused more on the supplemental form rather than on the natural production of it in the gut. But still really interesting because it shows just how important butyrate is in not just gut health, but other parts of our body too. It has a systemic effect on our health. There was one study on those with irritable bowel syndrome, and they were given 300 milligrams of sodium butyrate supplementation. And that was shown even after only 4 weeks that they had reduced abdominal pain. There was another study done on 13 people with Crohn's disease, which is an inflammatory bowel disease, and they had 2 months of taking 4,000 milligrams, and about 69% of those actually found that they have reduced symptoms. Now, that is a small sample of people, but and more research is needed, but it's really interesting to show that it can actually make a really big difference. There have been animal studies that have shown butyrate may help improve insulin resistance and prevent obesity and possibly even cardiovascular disease. There have been some really interesting studies looking at butyrate's effect on brain health, and that it may prevent cognitive disorders such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. There's also actually been a lot of research on the benefit of fiber with those specific conditions, and it probably is that it's because the gut bacteria are fermenting the fiber and creating the short-chain fatty acids that ends up having the health benefit that we see in a lot of studies. So it's not necessarily the fiber, it's the short-chain fatty acids that have actually given that benefit of preventing these brain disorders. There was also a rat study done that showed that butyrate supplementation actually helped to improve sleep by increasing the deeper restorative sleep that we need. Rat studies, obviously not a human study, but again, showing that it might be that if we're not having a diet rich in fiber, rich foods, that actually could be impacting our sleep. And everything starts in the gut, as I always say. Now, at this time, there are no guidelines around how much butyric acid or butyrate you need supplement-wise. But if you were eating lots of fruit and veg and grains, then your body would automatically be making the right amount of butyrate anyway. So increasing your fiber intake is probably the best and actually the cheapest strategy for boosting the amount of butyric acid in your gut. Now, as I said, even the richest food sources, which is your ghee, butter, cheese, milk, sauerkraut, they contain relatively little of butyric acid or butyrate compared to the amount that your gut bacteria will actually create. So it's really important to eat as many of the foods that our gut bacteria like, so that they automatically produce butyrate in our gut. So these are foods like asparagus, artichoke, apples, apricots, bananas. Now, the green bananas, unripe bananas, are actually better than ripe bananas for our gut bacteria. It doesn't always taste so good, but that's a form of resistant starch. Broccoli, carrots, chickpeas and legumes, garlic, kiwi fruit, leafy greens, onions, oat bran, potatoes, peas, pears, raspberries, pretty much all of them. You eat plants, you eat vegetables, you're actually gonna get some form of well, they're all fiber rich anyway, so you're going to get some form of butyrate made as a result. The resistant starch, remember I said, comes from cooked then cooled food. So that means things like oat bran, you could make cook up a porridge and then let it cool and have a cold porridge. You can make a bircher type muesli, would be really beneficial. Getting beans or legumes and cooking them up and then turning them into a cold bean salad would be great. Rice, so you can actually make a rice pudding and then let that cool and then have a cold rice pudding. Rice salad as well, and then again your potato salad. Your gut bacteria, I love this. So we're living in a really good time. It's the summer in New Zealand. This is the time to have those cooked and cooled foods. Get them in your diet. Make your gut bacteria happy and start producing that butyrate that will make a big difference to your gut health, but also other systems in your body, all general round brain, cardiovascular health, and your immune system as well. So have fun with that. I hope this has been beneficial. I hope you've learned a few things from this. Please let me know. Ask me any questions you want about this. If you want any information or you want me to actually look at your diet and give you some tips, then please contact me at admin@sarah-brenchley.com. I'd love to be able to give you some support and advice. So have a fantastic day, and I will see you soon.